Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. This is William Holly, Executive Director of My City Alumni Classic, and you are tuning in to the 2023 State of the Union Address. Couple things to get into today, but first, let's take a look back to May 1st, the inaugural My City Alumni Classic. We made history that day, and I want to thank everyone who came out, the players, the coaches, the spectators, the staffers. You helped make a dream come to fruition. I thought it was a step in the right direction. For our first time out, I think it's something that we can be proud of and something we can look to build upon. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do this year. But if it wasn't for your presence, we couldn't even consider a year two. So I say thank you. I say congratulations, because you did make history, and I hope you are proud of that. All right. As we look ahead, I want to share with you a question we've asked ourselves many times at My City. And I wonder if you've asked yourself this question also. How do we decide who gets to play? When you think about all of the colleges in the city, all of the players that have played for these schools throughout the year, how do we decide who gets to participate in the My City Alumni Classic? We want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to participate, but let's be real. There's only so many people you could put on a basketball team. There's only so much time in a day. So how do we whittle it down? In business, they talk about the importance of a mission statement. A mission statement can serve as a guiding star for a business. If ever there's a problem in the boardroom or a question arises, go back to the mission statement. That will help us get back on track and remind us of what our purpose is. And I know My City, we've been slacking. We've never posted anything officially. But in short, our mission is to create a community. I'll give you some backstory on the origins of My City. It was during the pandemic, and like everyone else, we watch the news, and we see families separated. We see individuals isolated. We see grandparents having to wave to their grandkids through a glass door. And, it was pretty sad. And we thought, the minute they open those doors back up, we got to find a way to give our people a reason to come back together and laugh and celebrate one another and lift one another up and promote healthy living. That was our goal. Now, the result was My City. But we were never looking for a basketball event at all costs. We were looking to build a community. And when we looked around and the dust cleared and we considered the relationships we had, like, oh, snap, My City makes the most sense. But it was never about a basketball event. It was about building a community. And when we talk about who should play, we lean on that mission statement. So those that contribute to the community will be rewarded. Those that add value, those that help to tell the story of My City, those that exemplify the ethos of My City's desire to build a community will be rewarded. If there was one thing last year we felt we could have done a lot better with, is getting more people to come through the door on May 1st. We had 117 participants. We had 300 spectators. We thought we could have got a lot more people through the door. And the reason we believe we fell short is because everybody wasn't willing to carry on the mission of My City for whatever reason. I think sometimes some players were a little hesitant. They didn't know what to expect, so they were a little standoffish. Some of them wouldn't even respond to my emails. I was surprised they showed up. They wouldn't follow the pages. They weren't with the newsletter. I see them repost everything else on Instagram, but they wouldn't repost this stuff. Cool, right? Nobody owes anybody anything. But I just want you to know, when it comes down to assembling these rosters, this is what we are considering. So if you're not bringing any new eyeballs, if you're not telling the story of my city, what is really your contribution? I think some people were under the impression, well, I'm the second all-time leading scorer. They got to pick me. I mean, moving forward, not quite. Not quite. Those spots are going to go to the people that, again, contribute to what we are trying to build. Some of you athletes, when you played college basketball, you have 50 people in the stands. In my city, you had nobody. All right. If that's how y'all want to do it, again, we have to do what we have to do on this end. I look to my guys who are high school coaches or AAU coaches. Why weren't your players there? Why? As high school coaches, our aspirations are to get all our kids to free scholarships or into college. Why not bring them and let them see over 100 former college athletes compete? Have the opportunity to meet them, shake their hand, hear their stories. Hell, the event took place on a Division I college gym. Let them walk through those doors and see that. Why weren't they there? And the reason for that is because I believe not everybody was willing to tell the story of my city. I'm a basketball coach. I'm a former basketball player, but I hate basketball culture. It's a culture that makes people think they above everybody else because they put a ball in a rim. Nah, that's not it. And if we can't move that ego to the side, then your time around my city will be short-lived. In fact, you're going to feel out of place in the group that we are assembling. When you go out on that court, please, by all means, compete your hardest, try to rip each other's heads off. But we need you to do some work outside of that court also. Tell the story. I had some people, we posted all type of videos. They would only post a little video with their face in it. Or they would only post their roster. Well, shit, who you playing against? Tell the whole story. Tell the whole story. And for the people that are unwilling, or they think they too cool for school, or they think their spot is guaranteed, not quite. Not quite. Because, again, this is about community building. I think this event has the power to save lives. I already told you the story about a brother who told us he lost 30 pounds in preparation, getting back on the path of healthy living. That's what it's about. We're not going to let this get derailed by any one person or any one school. The event is being built, so it's not relying on one person. If you know my history, I played alongside an All-American who's still pretty active in basketball. He wasn't there on May 1st. And what do you know? The York Cardinals were just fine. There's a school right across the Verrazano Bridge who has a great history of winning with a lot of amazing players in their alumni base. They weren't represented. And what do you know? We were just fine. So there's been people that have reached out to me, yo, Will, how can I contribute? That's how you can contribute. Make sure you're there. Make sure everybody in your circle is there. Make sure your opponent is there. Don't hit me with this arms folded, I made it kind of attitude. This is our event. I'm one of you. Kingsborough Community College, your college. Now, with that comes responsibility. We got to tell our own story. We're not relying on a school. We're not relying on a conference. We don't have a media package where we could press a button and it's disseminated. We have to do it. From the All-Americans to the 12th man. Most of those people in the stands, they weren't there because of what you did 10 years ago. Half of them never even seen you play. They are there because they fell in love with the stories we were telling. Oh, snap, a coach being on the court with one of his former players, that's pretty cool. Oh, snap, we got a set of brothers playing, that's pretty cool. Oh, snap, this guy is a cop by day and now he's about to come out here and play. Oh, snap, that's cool. We got to be a little bit better, and please don't mistake my tone as me being upset. No. In the words of the great Kanye West, I'm not rude, I'm just focused, right? And for whatever reason in the world, I'm occupying this seat right now. And this is what I think is needed to take us to the next chapter. This event is about everybody. Everybody. If you saw some of the Instagram lives I did last year, I had my man on there who was a player, but you know who else I brought on? I brought his daddy on. Because those people are a part of our careers also. I had one of my other mans on there. Who else I brought on the live? His spouse. His spouse that he married who never got to see his college career. Now on My City, she gets to come and share that part of his life. So I'm asking all the players to take 2 seconds to put your own basketball exploits to the side and your bravado and ego and think about somebody else that would appreciate this event. And I want you to call them and invite them. And if we all, as 117 plus participants, bring 3 or 4, this year is going to be more special than ever. I got to give credit to Jamal Hall and the City Tech Yellow Jackets. I got an email last year from City Tech student government asking if they could buy 20 tickets. I said, hell yeah, y'all could buy 20 tickets. But just think about that. City Tech's basketball program got disbanded 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Them brothers ain't been on campus for 10 years, ain't had a basketball program. But they were so excited about the opportunity to be a part of My City. They went on their campus. They told the stories to whoever would listen. And the result is that school was posting about us and the student government brought 20 tickets. That's a way to add value to the community. So all of those schools, your campus has an alumni association. You could reach out to them. Like, yo, this is what we're doing. Come check us out. You can use this as a reason to contact your president. Hey, president, we're going to have 30 of our alumni in there. We all up to doing good things. Like, you should come check us out. You should reach out to your AD. City Tech, I told you last year, we didn't know if we were going to be able to fit them in. Now, when they bring in that type of energy, when they contribute into the community in that way, there's no way we can do it without them. So I just wanted to put that on your radar, right? This is about community building. When y'all go on that court, you can have all the basketball fun in the world. But outside of that, there's more work to be done. And the people that do it will be rewarded. I don't know if I said this already, but I got visions of this event. I got visions of us being at City Hall, getting the key to the city from the mayor. That's what I think of this and what its potential is. We're representatives from all schools there, being celebrated not just for what we did as athletes, but what we continue to do in this city today. Fact. We got to do that work. Let me talk about eligibility real quick. Eligibility for the senior colleges. Junior colleges, y'all know what it is. We ain't stressing too much. But for the senior college, basically, you had to have had a senior night. Right? You have to have exhausted all of your college eligibility. We don't want the person that, I played one semester and I failed off, but you know what I'm saying? Like, no. We don't want that. We want the people that essentially finished the race. Right? And there are some stories where guys didn't have a senior night or whatever, but if they got their college degree, cool. And again, the reason for that, do we miss out on some basketball players because of these eligibility rules? Absolutely. But what we want our community to be. I want this event to serve as motivation to them youngsters in the stands. Yo, bro, finish the race. Finish the race. I want them to look at all of us and say, man, all these dudes did it. And that be motivating for them, especially for us high school coaches that are coaching these young kids, because we all went through trials and tribulations in our college career. Oh, coach didn't like me. Oh, there was a death in the family and we left this semester. Or we needed to go to work. Like, we all face those things that these kids are up against. But some of them choose to never turn back and go to school. We did. And I want them to know these stories and see these stories. That's what that eligibility is about. Yo, but Will, if you tweak it, then so-and-so could play. We good. This is what we building around this community. It's not better or worse than anybody else. This is us. Let's talk about the eligibility year. It's 2018. That's the youngest you can be to participate in my city, right? Your college career had to have finished in 2018 or before. We call that the Chima Eche Ekabar rule, who was a brother that competed for Baruch. He's actually Baruch's all-time leading scorer. You know, initially when we set up my city, we wanted it to be like 2015 and older. We wanted it to be for the older folks. But we wanted Chima to be a part of it. We had no idea he was that young. And when we found out, we said, all right, I guess the eligibility year is going to be 2018. And the plan was to move the eligibility year up with each successive year. Right? Last year was 2018, then we would go to 2019, then we go to 2020 as we move ahead. But we're not doing that. It's staying at 2018. Why? Because we didn't feel there was enough of the young athletes in the stands, right? So what's the rush to move it along? Now, it's not their fault specifically because, again, some of us older guys didn't tell the story to them. That's part of the event also, closing the gap between the generations. So many of us older players are sit in the stands and we'll talk about a player, we'll know all his stats, but when they walk past us, we won't extend our hand and introduce ourselves. Why? Hey, brother, I like what you're doing, man. Any way I can help, holla at me. That's part of the event too, closing the gap between the generations. And I would challenge each and every one of you to do that. Now, some of the older guys be like, man, I don't want these young guys in. They might take my spot. All right, cool. Selfishly motivated as always. But when we do start to open up the ranks and the teams you are competing against have younger players, you're going to come and say, Will, I want my young guys to play. And I'm going to ask you, have they ever attended the event as a fan? Well, nah. Well, then they can't play, right? They don't get to not contribute to the community and then show up one day looking to extract from the community. No. We all got a job to do. And if you looked over my shoulder on May 1st, you saw the 2020 championship game MVP for the Brooklyn College Bulldogs, Anthony McClain. If you looked up in them stands, you saw the 2019 Rookie of the Year for the York Cardinals, Devon Chisholm. When their numbers or their eligibility years open up, they spot solidified. Because, again, they contributed to the community. They're all playing their role. But to them young guys who just want to sit on the outside and not acknowledge us and then one day want to show up, it's not going to work that way. So, again, this is another aspect of the event. Reach out to the youngsters. Let them know what we're doing. Let them know what we're building. Let them know that this is going to be theirs in a few years. All right? Salute to the Brooklyn College young ladies. They're young athletes. When their eligibility year opens up, they'll be ready too, because there was a whole bunch of them in the stands. What else I got? With the rosters. no new players will be able to be added this year, right? Unless you brought a ticket last year, right? If you weren't present last year, you shouldn't expect a jersey this year. Why? How'd you contribute to the community? There were many players that asked to play last year. I said, we ain't got a jersey for you this year. They didn't show up. So good luck trying to get a jersey this year. Again, we reward those that contribute. Now, say if there was somebody that truly didn't know about my city last year, well, then you got to turn to your teammate and ask them why they ain't call you. This is what I'm saying. We got something special, and to keep it going, it's going to take the work of everybody. So if people want to come out the woodwork, oh, snap, I want in now. You first going to sit in them stands and cheer on your people this year, and then next year we can discuss a possibility of you participate. We got to contribute to this to keep it afloat, right? We all got a responsibility. Because if it wasn't for them people showing up last year, we wouldn't even have a year two. So how can you just come out of the woods and say, all right, I'm ready now. I heard it was cool. I'm ready now. But last year you were a no-show. And if you truly didn't know about it, it goes back to that basketball coach I'm talking about. How can you compete, or how can you suit up for your school and not contact all your former teammates and let them know what's going on? That's selfishly motivated, and we kind of want to weed that person out. Imagine if we only thought about ourselves in my city. Oh, snap, there would be no my city. Not every school that was represented last year will be represented this year. That's unfortunate. We can't accommodate everybody every year. I look forward to seeing how people accept that news, because everybody last year has told us how much of a privilege it was. We'll see if they think it's a privilege this year when I say, nah, we ain't got you in, or will they act like it's a right? All right. A few things. Many people asked about why is it not a tournament? Again, going back to the mission, we want to celebrate as many people as possible. You know, we don't want to crown one champion at the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for that, you got Dykeman, you got Gersh. They crown a champion of the city. This is not who we are. I wanted to give an opportunity to celebrate as many people as we can. Furthermore, we trying to replicate our college experience. Nobody played multiple college games in a day. This ain't AAU basketball. I want you to walk in the gym and put your heart on the line, whether you play 5 minutes or 30 minutes. Okay? We're not doing tournament style. And some people say, yo, Will, why don't you just add more games? Well, how long do you want the day to be? Why don't you just make it 2 days? No, I want it to be 1 day, appointment viewing. Be there, be square. I don't want people saying, you know what, I won't come on Saturday, but I'll come on Sunday. Furthermore, we got to take account of our spectators. 5 games was a long day. We don't want to make it any longer for them. Last year, we had one woman participate in the first game, and her brother played in the second to last game. So we got to keep in mind that family. We don't want them to have to come multiple days and this and that. Some people are traveling. No, it's 1 day. You come in there, put your heart on the line for 1 game, and we out. Just like in college. Okay? It's not AAU basketball. All right? What else we got? The tickets are going to be $25 this year. I know we wish we could make it cheaper. We try, but when we take in all the numbers, this is what it takes to participate at that venue, $25. You know, it's not for everybody. I understand. But don't accept the jersey and then complain. You know, on the front end. Okay? Let's see. Last year, the rundown is pretty much what you can expect. 5 games, give a trophy, MVP, sportsmanship award. That's what you can expect. And studying business over the years, and literally, I've studied business. I'm not saying I'm some businessman, far from it, but I've studied business. And one of the anecdotes that I learned that I thought was rather interesting is that Starbucks was in business for decades before they sold their first Frappuccino. You know what my interpretation of that is? Master what you can master first. The setup you saw last year, 5 games, 1 day, we're going to try to master that before we talk about diversifying and this and that. We're going to try our best to master that. You think of the Joe Rogan podcast, he got $100 million. It's still the same cameras. It's still the same setup, right? Just be the master of what you do. So you can expect 5 games, champion, MVP, sportsmanship, and we out of there. We in this for the long haul, and I want to say this in my last piece. I'm asking everybody to do their part. And this year, that social media presence that you saw last year, you're not going to see that this year. You're going to see little to none. The outcome of this event is going to be on our ability to connect with our people. It's not going to be on social media. And I ran that by a few people, and they were like, yo, Will, that's crazy. Without social media, I told y'all before, Dr. Martin Luther King had 250,000 people assemble on the mall at Washington without a website. It can be done if we get out and touch the hearts of the people. Do the dirty work. Get out there, shake hands, call people, invite them, let them know that their presence will be welcome. I think we can have an even more special day than we did last year. But with the social media, I felt like people got a little lazy and they relied on it and they let that do the work. No, right? So there will be little social media presence. You're going to get a flyer and a ticket link, okay? And in doing that, I feel us at my city, we're gonna gain valuable information. We're gonna see who's who. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, that's more valuable than anything else. Because again, we in this for the long haul. So we trying to see who is going on this ride with us. Okay? Before we start to invite businesses in and before we go on this run to stick up the city, we got to see who understands and is willing to carry on the mission of my city. That's most important this year. And to weed out those that aren't for us, who are here just to steal a moment, who are here just because they see pictures being taken. We want to weed that individual out. Okay? So that's where we at. Please don't mistake my tone for me being upset, man. Again, last year was great. I look forward to another great year. This is just what I think is necessary to take us where we want to go. That's it. You know? That's the 2023 State of the Union address. William Holly. Oh, rosters are due March 1st. So when you see this, hit me. And we start to put those together. Rosters are due March 1st. We do have a date for the event. We're not posting it yet. But when I talk to the teams, they will know. All right? 2023 State of the Union. I'm William Holly. Yo.